Wait, you have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed, your TV Guidance Counselor, here in a winter wonderland of 2021 years AD. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for surviving the winter and for making it into 2021. This week, I have a great guest, a guy I haven't seen in a while. It's been lockdown, and I haven't talked to him in a while, but Jim Bowes, he is a really funny guy, just a good, solid dude. He was one of the last guests on my old Secret Menu live show. We did a yearbook session with him, which I think I may have uploaded to the Patreon. If I didn't and you'd like to see it, let me know if you're a patron, patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor. And thank you guys who are patrons, and those who are not, that's fine too. Or you can email me at ken@ikenread.com or at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com, and let me know anything you want to see. I have hours and hundreds of hours of live footage that you may not want to see, but that you can email me and tell me you don't want to see it as well, but it's not an opt-out kind of thing. Anyway, he's my guest this week. It was great to sit down and talk to him. I haven't had a chance to really chat with him. It's not quite in person, but at length in a while, and he's one of my favorite dudes. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Jim Bowes.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Jimmy Bowes, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Ken. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. We were just discussing, there's like a super space age neon green light behind you that looks like something from the set of Star Wars. And I thought it might be your router, but it's really big.
Would you like a cocktail, Mr. Bowes?
It's like, it's like a replicator. But you said it's a thing you need to clean your air because you have ferrets.
Yeah. Good. That was my pandemic purchase to, distract the kids.
You bought
but now it's just 1,000 different daddy watch this. Daddy watch me hang the ferret from here,
Oh, they're like using them for like to juggle.
No. They're good with them. Except my son. My son is 5, is not. But,
well, ferrets, they might mess him up. They can be pretty vicious.
Yeah, these ones are pretty, they know the pecking order. There was one that was a little bitey that we had to send back.
Oh, did you send him to the farm or just literally send him back?
No. Brought him back. I got it from a pet store who was rehoming them.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't have time to, with kids, like they bit me on the heel, so they were marked,
Oh yeah. Have you ever had them before? Like, why did you decide to get those?
It was like a halfway measure between a cat and a gerbil. I thought. Okay.
Yeah, no, they steal things.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be like the Beastmaster. I was going to be able to walk through the bazaar and come out with all the pocketbooks and stuff,
Yeah, that is actually what I was getting at, is you literally only bought those because of Beastmaster, didn't you?
Yeah. Because whenever I remember the Beastmaster, I remember him as more Conan-y, but he's really not.
No.
He's kind of a goof.
He is. It's the guy from V. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
He had ferrets, and my sister made us get ferrets. When my sister was a kid, she had cancer, and for her Make-A-Wish, she went on like a shopping spree and met Boy George. It's a whole weird thing, but as a result, she bought ferrets. Which I used to joke on stage about is like, what does a terminally ill child need except animals that steal things and need constant attention?
Yeah. Oh, and they're like expressionless, and they look at you and they'll just like submit, and you just think like, they're just thinking, I can't wait for him to fall asleep. I'm going to eat his eyes out of his head.
Yeah. I used to call them, I used to have a whole thing about ferrets, and they also smell really bad.
People say that, and it's true. Yeah.
Is that why you need the air cleaner, or is it for their benefit?
I had it before, just like in general, but it helps put it right next to the cage.
With the smell?
With the smell, yeah. I love the Beastmaster in the movie where he was blind. You remember that? And he drove a car. It was like, I remember it seems like it was on repeat on TV.
Oh, are you thinking of Blind Justice with
No, it was a real lovey-dovey story. It's like kind of a love story with him and his roommate and
His name's
a
Mark
girl.
Mark, oh my God. All my listeners are
man.
yelling at me right now because they're like, it's Mark something. No, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Really? Oh, man. It's like, this seems like it's embedded in my subconscious.
He's a blind guy that drove a car.
But no, because I remember the scene of him whipping down the road, driving the car, long before, what's his name did it? Sent to a woman.
There's another blind guy that drove a car.
No, yeah, Pacino is a fucking thief, dude.
Of course, he's fucking ripping off Mark from the Beastmaster all the fucking
Totally
time.
fucking. It was a made-for-TV ABC movie.
I thought you said,
I've seen it.
I didn't hear you say scent of a woman, and I literally thought you said centaur woman. I was like, what's centaur woman? There's a blind person that drives a car and this thing called centaur woman?
Yeah, she got ups.
There's a practical joke that Stevie Wonder played on, I think it was Smokey Robinson, because he got a joke played on him on TV's Bloopers and Practical Jokes.
I just listened to that episode.
Oh yeah, did you hear the joke that Stevie Wonder played?
I forget. Say it again, though. I can't.
So he had a car kitted out so that it could drive via remote control. And he got Smokey Robinson in the car and was like, hey, I got this new demo tape. Let's listen to it in the car because the sound system's great. And so they're in there listening to it. And then Stevie Wonder starts the car up and just starts driving around. But it's really remote control. He has no idea. That is an amazing practical joke.
That's so fucking funny. Yeah, I did. I remember that now. That's great.
So we got an issue here from October 22nd to the 28th, 1983.
Yes, we do.
And on the cover is a show that almost nobody remembers. I don't know if you remember.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
It's called Mr. Smith. And I'm not making this up, people. It is about an orange orangutan that talks and moves to Washington, D.C. to be the president.
Yeah, you cannot make this shit up.
No, and NBC.
I was wondering if I was going to be able to deliver that line. I'm glad you did. It's your show. I have a question though.
Yes.
Is that the guy from Any Which Way But Loose? Is that the same
Clyde
primate?
the ape? I believe it is.
Left Turn, Clyde?
Yes, he was a huge star. There's are you familiar with the company Golan and Globus? They did like all the Chuck Norris movies and a lot of just like 80s exploitation, like the Death Wish sequels.
Oh, okay.
They were these two Israeli guys, and they're out of their mind. And there's a documentary called Electric Boogaloo, the story of Golan and Globus. And a guy tells a story about how Menachem Golan is trying to pitch a movie to Clyde the ape. Like, he literally has this orangutan. He's like, there is a boy, and he loves the monkey, and you are the monkey. Like, he needs this ape to be like, yeah, I'll do the movie. Like, what? But it was a huge star.
Picking stuff out of his stomach, yeah.
Orangutans were in everything between like 1978 to like 1983 or 4.
They were all the rage. I loved seeing I don't remember the show at all, but the people to watch Jim Carrey in Duck Factory. Did you remember that show?
Yeah, Duck Factory's great. I had Teresa Genzel on, who was in Duck Factory with him, and it was an MTM Productions shot on film sitcom, and it was basically a fictional version of the Jay Ward Studios, the guy who did Rocky and Bullwinkle. He had a studio on Sunset Boulevard in LA with like a big Bullwinkle statue on the top that was very famous. Yeah. So this was like, let's pretend this kid's an animator from Ohio, the Midwest somewhere, and he moves out to join this animation studio, and it's like there's animation, and it's also a sitcom, and it's not bad.
Huh.
It was short-lived. Comedy Central used to run it.
The way they described it, it was like we're weaving animation. Like, it was really kind of like, this is the new wave.
Oh yeah, it's a fun show. It didn't last very long. I think it was kind of expensive, but it was the first thing that we saw Jim Carrey in, to be followed by Once Bitten.
That was great.
Once Bitten's amazing.
What's her name?
Lauren Hutton.
Yeah, come on. Jeez, little Pete.
Yeah, one of the first supermodels.
Speaking of hotties, they never come up during the week when I was looking at the shows, but how can a collaboration between Linda Carter and Londi Anderson go wrong?
Partners in Crime?
God dang, what?
Partners in Crime is the name of the show? Yeah.
How did they screw that up? I would have watched that.
It lasted about a season. They're like detectives together.
Yeah.
Would you?
But did they not go to Miami to solve a crime? I mean, were they stupid or what?
Yeah, I mean, so you're saying that it lacked bikinis, and that's what you needed.
That's what I'm saying.
Would you?
Yeah, those are two of my favorites at the top of the time.
If you had to be a Ginger or Marianne in that scenario, would you be Alani or
Freaking
Linda?
hated Gilligan's Island.
We all did.
Marianne, definitely.
So you would be a Linda Carter versus Alani.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
You got to pick. You got to pick.
I'm more the chick from Taxi, right in the middle.
Oh, really?
And Johnny Dangerously, yeah, I like her.
Mary
a
Lou
lot.
Henner?
Yeah.
She has a condition known as hypernesia. Did you know that?
What's that? No.
It's the
Big knees?
No, it's giant knees. It's the opposite of amnesia, where you remember everything.
Oh, torture.
Yeah, you can ask her like a day and time in her life, and she'll tell you everything that happened that day, like what she ate, everything.
Oh, has she been a guest?
No, I've talked to her about doing it, and she's super busy, but she's very nice, so I hope to have her on someday. But there's like 20 people in the world that have hypernesia, and she's one of them.
That is crazy. I remember reading about it, some guy in Russia. But hey,
Yeah.
by the way, thanks for having me, man. I'm really, really giddy about doing it.
Oh,
I can't believe. I mean, Jane Seymour, Sam Malone,
Yep.
Bill McMurrow. You
Yep.
know, I mean, I can't believe I'm sitting in the same.
All the big names.
All the bigs.
But you didn't get to come to the studio and sit where that bear is sitting, where, you know.
I'm disappointed by that, but
You've had to like go out of the house and stuff during lockdown, right? Like your
well,
life dictates that you're not just in the house.
right. Yeah. I mean, we're back and forth between my ex-wife's house, and then I'm back in school teaching.
Is that terrifying?
No, I mean, everyone's wearing masks. The kids aren't being goofs about it, you know, and classes are small, and we're figuring out the pace and stuff. It's a lot of thinking, especially for a frontal lobe challenged individual like myself. So by like 1 p.m., I'm just like, like Bugs Bunny after he walks out of
of an explosion?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Do they issue you masks, or do you get to wear your own?
Yeah, they gave us some.
So you can't
Like the blue ones.
You can't wear like a skeleton mask or like something to scare the kids. You couldn't wear an orangutan mask like Mr. Smith.
No, I don't think that would go over too well.
Before we move on, one of the weirdest things about Mr. Smith is because NBC pumped so much money into it, they actually did a ton of merchandising. So in my travels in Beforentine, when I used to go to flea markets and things, I used to encounter like Mr. Smith lunchboxes and like puzzles and the stuff. It's like,
can you get like a figurine of stuffed animal and sew a little red hat on him?
you could. I have a Mr. Smith wallet somewhere.
That would be really, really offensive to orangutans.
It is.
I have to say.
I went to Southwick's Wild Animal Kingdom and an orangutan kicked my ass and stole it, and he was right to.
By the way, in my email box, seriously, underneath you, 6 emails from the president of the United States. He sent me 6 emails in the last day. And I went to one of his websites once. I clicked on the thing like that said other. And then he's like, it's like, how much money do you want to give?
Oh, yeah. Well, they're always those side note. The emails from the GOP, which every time there's an election, I know I'm going to get Republican stuff because some asshole I know has signed me up for everything. So I'm just used to it. Which is better than it used to be, because me and my roommates had this war where we would get each other free magazine subscriptions.
That's great.
But we would get weird ones, and it's probably not a thing now, because I assume a lot of those industry magazines are online. But I literally got my roommate a lifetime subscription to Meatpacking magazine.
Beautiful.
And it literally was a magazine about the meatpacking industry. And it was like the latest in styrofoam. Like it was
It's a jungle.
Yeah.
Oh.
And good up to Sinclair reference. You are a teacher. But so we would all, sign up for political stuff. So yeah, I get them, and I've gotten them for like 20 years. But the ones from the Trump campaign are so hilariously pathetic, because it's like, if you give the president $100, we'll show him a card with your name on it.
Yeah, we'll give 800%. Who will give 800% from where? What are you talking about? You'll match it. You'll give your own money to yourself?
And then there's
What are you talking about?
then there's ones that was like, I don't understand why you haven't
Swearing
given
too
us. That's quite all right. I encourage it. I don't understand why you haven't given us any money. Don Jr. emailed you. I emailed you. Like, it sends you these weird guilt trip emails. It's very, very weird.
I'm having fun taking 30 seconds every once in a while to reply like, yeah, your father stinks.
You know what
You stink.
my favorite thing is if you get texts, which are clearly automated, because I sign up for every single rally they do for a ticket I'm not
Okay.
going to use, and you need
That's great.
a phone number because you have to
That
confirm
move in Tulsa, by the way, before we move past that, was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
All the people online. I mean,
It was great. Teenagers, man, they're the best.
that
friends.
almost like is like in history books, because that was kind of a turning point. I mean, that was so embarrassing. It was so.
Oh yeah, think of all the people that they
God, that
saved
blew up
though.
in his face.
If they could only have saved Herman Cain, but but so you get texts from them because we got a text list, and it's clearly automated, you know, and so I'll text back, "Fuck off." And then immediately it's like, you have been removed from this text list, which means they had to program it to automatically remove people if they texted back, fuck off. So
If input, then
so it happened. It either happened so much they had to change it, or they just assumed that would happen and built it.
Do you
in
like my
from start.
basic programming language?
It was very good. You made the
Thanks.
turtle go around and the screen blinked.
Jim.
Oh, basic. It got me nowhere.
Man, so true.
So we're in here. We're at 1983. So you're like teenage Jim, like just,
12.
All right. So preteen, living life.
Preteen, yeah. I tried to pick like before I started going out most weekends and not really.
South
And
Shore.
I found, what's that?
South Shore.
South Shore, yeah.
Yeah.
Milton, yeah.
Milton. All right. Yep. I detected that.
Yeah.
So you're not going into the city. You have no.
I know. We're from each other's outer space.
It's true.
Yeah, no, in town we called it. Yeah, going in town.
Like if you lived in Milton, it was even like you wouldn't even go to Quincy unless you had to.
No, but in town, the only place you went in Boston was Downtown Crossing or Faneuil Hall. That was it.
Yep. Unless you had to go to the hospital to visit somebody, and then it was like a 4-day trip.
Yeah, the brain thing goes. So you got the doctors in there.
Yeah. Oh, we got to go in town to Mass General. We got to get a Sherpa and a friggin' gun. Like it was like people treated going into Boston.
Where are you gonna park?
You can't park anywhere. Just have someone circle the block. People literally treated going into the city when we were growing up like they were in the Warriors and they were trying to get back to Coney Island.
Yeah, no shit. Extra can of gas, load up waters.
Yeah. We're going to lose some people. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
going.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Avenge me. Avenge me.
What they would have wanted. Avenge me.
So we got a huge article in here about Inside General Hospital, about Tony Gary in a sequin evening gown, which I'm sure you read.
Can I tell you something? This is the first time I've ever read a TV guide.
Really?
More than looking in one day at one spot for one thing. It always frightened and confused me. I think all the writing, I was at TV Week.
In the Herald?
No, Boston Globe.
The Globe, yeah. Yeah, there were
The Ledger.
there was no articles in the TV Week. It was just listings.
Right. There was like maybe, and it was all separate.
Yeah.
But when it was when it was like 8 o'clock here and then 8:30 after the ads, I'd be like, where do we go? Seriously, I mean, if I didn't know, I can't believe it was undiagnosed ADD. That's what would throw me.
So
Like I looked at the ads and then I don't know what happened.
3 days later, I'm in the hospital in town.
No Price is Right at 11 in the morning. That's all I know.
So were you like totally confused when you looked at it as an adult now in this one?
No, I got it. I am a little bit more patient now, and I take Adderall. So
Oh, perfect.
I liked it. It's there's a lot of stuff in there.
There's an amazing ad in here. I forgot that Kodak had David Copperfield as a spokesperson to show that
No
their
way.
their instant photos were magic. They were competing with Polaroid.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, those were great.
And this is 83, so this is like super nerdy David Copperfield that looks like Bob Saget. It's before he discovered Peter Gabriel and was all like, you know, sexy, hypnotizing women David Copperfield.
That is so freaking funny. I didn't see that ad.
Yeah, it's right.
There was some of them look really salacious.
Oh yeah, the cigarette ads.
The Silver Spoon's dad was in one of them. He's in one of the adultery movies.
Oh yeah, I mean Joel Higgins.
Is that who it is?
Yep, Joel Higgins.
Awesome.
Also, for the record, because I left him hanging. in the Lonnie Anderson Linda Carter war, I am 100% Linda Carter.
Linda Carter. All right. Yeah. I mean, Shazam.
I like Lonnie Anderson, but Linda Carter, no contest. In the same page where they talk about the two in that show, there's also a picture of one of the Solid Gold dancers,
Oh, nice.
Darcel Wynn. So, I mean, this is all the horny dad stuff in here.
Nice. Horny dad. Oh man, I can't tell you, since I got divorced, like for some reason, as soon as I did, you're the single horny dad thing. I was like, just don't be that.
Yeah. Divorced dad horny. Yeah.
Divorced dad horny. By the way, speaking of which, with Lonnie Anderson, I think they gave her some pretty good lines in WKRP.
Oh, she's great.
So that was part of why I liked it. I thought she was hilarious.
She's very funny, just generally. Like, she's got a great sense of humor. She's super talented, and stunning. And, you know, she was overshadowed by Burt Reynolds. And I really do think Lonnie Anderson probably could have had a film career. Like, she could have easily been like a romantic comedy lead. No problem.
Sure.
And it's kind of a shame. Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're consciously not being divorced dad horny. And for people that don't remember, I believe I first discussed this with Christian Finnegan about 450 episodes ago, but there's a very specific weird kind of horny that divorced dads are that is like,
Ooh,
yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at this. Look at that.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're not doing that to your children. So let's dive in. Saturday night. What are you going with?
Saturday night, I had, first of all, one of my favorite things is the 7 to 8 o'clock moment, watching those half-hour shows. Like, that's where you get your Mashes and Barney Millers. You know, those are the shows I thought of when I thought of this time period. But 8 o'clock, I go Different Strokes.
Hey, were you a big Different Strokes fan?
I love Different Strokes, yeah.
Do you have a preferred season? Because the show changed a lot. You had several different housekeepers.
Well, Mrs. Garrett's obviously tops, and I don't. Sam isn't terrible, but I'm not particularly fond of him. I put him in the Scrappy is worse, but Sam's like, I kind of started to lose interest by that point. Anyways,
do you remember the episode where Sam got kidnapped?
I do not.
This country guy kidnapped him because he thought he looked like his dead son, which is, in hindsight, really sad. And some Stephen King stuff. But he brings Sam home, and he's got like 2 other kids and a wife. And he's like, hey, guys, this is Sam. He's going to live with us now. He's our son. And the family's like, oh, okay. Like, that just happened. But then the guy pulls Sam aside, and he goes, if you tell anyone, I will kill your family, Sam. I will kill each one of them families.
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Different Strokes?
On Different Strokes.
What you talking about?
Yeah.
Willis?
Well, I mean, you had Mr. Bicycle Man.
Man.
Speaking of KRP, this episode is the Drummonds catch a burglar, but when the police arrive, everyone recounts a different version of the crime. So we got a full-on Rashomon tribute in Different Strokes.
What's that? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that.
Rashomon is Akira Kurosawa Japanese movie where it's 5 different people telling a different version of the same event. So it's sort of like a quintessential story format that a lot of different people have adapted, but it's the first one I think on record.
All right.
So it's not something that usually is paid tribute to in Different Strokes.
Well, they're out there, as you just demonstrated. They're right on the edge.
It's true. They were a pretty hip show. Then did you stick with Silver Spoons?
Oh yeah, and I was very excited because I love looking to see the descriptions, and very excited to hit a Jason Bateman here. I mean, how great is that?
Yeah, we're season 1, so we still got Bateman before he left and was like, "I'm getting my own show, losers."
So wait, was he? Who was he? Was he the bully in that episode?
No, Bateman was his best friend. So he had 2 friends. One of them was Freddie, who looked like Peter Billingsley from Christmas Story. And he was played by an actor with maybe the second best name to say with a Boston accent.
Corky
Pigeon.
Corky. So that wasn't Corky like Life Goes On Corky.
No, this is Corky Pigeon.
Because they said the way they described him, like.
Yeah, Ricky joins in when his friends gang up on Freddie, an inept classmate who's shattered to overhear Ricky denying their friendship. Yet Derek is his other best friend, who's Jason Bateman, who's like, come on, Rick, Freddie's a loser.
So picture that description with me thinking that was Corky from Life Goes On.
Oh, that's terrible.
I was horrified.
Yeah, no, that kid's name is Chris something.
Okay.
He put out an album. So it's very,
know.
yeah. If you're bored, there's also a thing where they're teasing next week's TV guide right above the Silver Spoons episode.
All right.
Lou Gossett's basic training.
Oh my gosh, this after Officer and Gentleman?
Yeah. His struggle to become a legitimate star. But they say that like he was in porn or something. Like a legitimate star? What does that mean?
It's hilarious.
Very strange. And then if I had to guess, I'd say you went with Love Boat.
Yeah. That was a Saturday night staple, Love Boat. And you always you hit this level when you could stay up to see Fantasy Island. I remember.
Do you have
I was probably
siblings?
9 or something. What's that?
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 7.
Oh, of 7.
Yeah. So also, this is a great fantasy. The idea that I can pick every show.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't get any choice on anything.
But I was kind of in the last batch, so people had kind of moved on from TV a lot. I was pretty TV heavy.
So you had the 7, it was like 4 a year apart, then like a 5-year gap, and then like 3 a year apart. Those are usually
Basically, yeah. My oldest brother's 15 years older, and then the nearest sibling was 6 years old.
There's a weird Irish Catholic thing that everyone I knew grew up. It was like parents were like, doing it, kid. And then they hate each other for like 5 years. And then they reconcile and it's all of a sudden like kid again.
Well, it's when some of their kids get to babysitting age. Because that's basically, I was brought up by my sisters. I actually said this to a woman at the playground the other day. I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old was calling to me. I said to my 10-year-old, I'm like, can you go help him? And I was like, I wish I had a 10-year-old when she was 5.
Well, that's the joke I always have. The only thing I regret about the only time I regret not having children is when I'm shoveling snow.
I was going to say during the harvest, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I'm not from Maine, Jim. But this Love Boat episode, I always love to see.
You are a comedian.
I always love to see who the guest stars are. And this one's got some good ones. We have
In the Love Boat? I didn't recognize anybody.
Oh, really? So you have a divorcing couple played by Stella Stevens and Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy, you probably best know from UHF. He's the guy that runs Channel 8. The white-haired guy.
All right.
He was famously in Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well.
All right.
Who spend most of their marriage as sparring partners.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Decide they'll go another round before the final papers. A do-gooder played by Paul Kreppel. Paul do you ever see the show It's a Living? With the waitresses on the top of the Bonaventure Hotel with, he's the piano player. He hires a sex therapist played by Donna Pascow. Donna was in the show Angie, and she's in Saturday Night Fever. She's the romantic lead in that. To help an impotent friend. Which, this is pretty edgy stuff for 1983. They have a sex therapist trying to help a guy who can't get a boner. And
but so you trusted this guy. You had this heart-to-heart conversation with him. He's like, hey, remember that time we talked? I got us a cruise and got you a hooker.
Yeah.
Aren't I a good guy?
Also, I'd be like, why do you care so much about my boner?
Right.
Your friends shouldn't care that much about it.
Look, he's going to be, I'm really worried about Joey.
Yeah. Or Jesus, will you get a boner so you'll leave us alone?
You should have a time down at the hall.
Oh, man. That's a weird thing.
Hey, come down to the post because Joey can't get a boner.
We're having a surprise sex therapist. Surprise, you're 40. Anyway, I'm going to watch that episode tonight. Nice. And so then, even though it's 10 o'clock, which is past the purview, it's always fun to look at Fantasy Island, to your point. And this one is a grateful patient played by Peter Graves.
Peter Graves.
This sounds like a full-on porn movie, and I'm sorry, but a grateful patient played by Peter Graves treats his nurses to their wildest fantasies.
You know what? I just see the turn of it that the nurses just want him to go away and serve him while they sit on the beach. You know, that's the whole episode.
Their wildest,
get me another one.
Their wildest fantasies is just his funeral.
Yeah, exactly.
But weirdly, so I rewatched.
That would be a good turn on Fantasy Island.
It really would, because it was
scary. Some of them were scary.
Did you believe that Mr. Rourke was the devil?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, me too. There's no question.
Yeah.
This episode I actually rewatched last year because Joanna Cassidy's in it, and I had Joanna Cassidy on the show.
Oh yeah.
We watched it, and it's not as porny as it is led to. As you
How do you watch these?
You can stream them. Fantasy Island was all streaming on Prime, but they're on MeTV every weekend.
Okay.
I have a bunch on DVD. Weirdly, in the last year, a ton of this stuff's on YouTube. A ton, which is pretty cool. And then Night Flight that night. Again, I mentioned this because it was an important show to me, but this is the all reggae episode, and they featured Jimmy Cliff, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Eddie Grant in 1983, which is kind of unusual.
Wow.
Did you ever go to the Orson Welles Theater in Cambridge when you were growing up?
No.
Oh, it was an amazing. It's the theater that invented the Midnight Movie.
Really?
And they're the first place that showed Harder They Come, the Jimmy Cliff movie in America, which was kind of cool.
Okay.
Where are we? Monday? Oh, Sunday.
By the way, I couldn't find. I know. Did you do a Saturday morning special with Sean Sullivan?
Yes, with Sean, I did one with Lamont and a couple other people.
I couldn't find Bugs Bunny anywhere.
Let me look. Let's go back to Saturday morning. Bugs Bunny usually ran on local stuff, and then on NBC, they'd run it to fill time. But let me see what was airing Saturday morning, October 22nd, 1983. Cool McCool, which was a 60s show with Adam West.
Yeah.
We got Shazam, Underdog, Sport Billy, Star Blazers. Were you a Star Blazers guy?
I love Star Blazers, but I watched that at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
On whatever Wednesdays it was.
Did you ever make it?
School.
You ever make it to Mr. Big's Toyland?
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Oh,
What's
wow.
that?
They used to advertise on Star Blazers. It was this toy store in Waltham that sold like Star Blazers toys. It was like the only place.
Oh, no. I was not. We didn't have. My dad was a teacher. So like I looked at ads. Like I didn't ask for it. I got some Star Wars stuff when that came out, but I didn't really ask for a lot of toys. I got like so much like stuff with like one wheel. I'm like, this is good enough.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not on fire.
Yeah.
Saturday Supercade, which was a show that had a rotating cast of shows. It had Pitfall, Qbert, were part of it.
Qbert.
Yeah, Qbert. Shirt Tails. What do we got? Smurfs, Munchie Cheese. Yeah, this is a bad year.
I think I remember Saturday morning from when I was younger.
In the
Because I was just Super Friends, Bugs Bunny. That's all everything else was filler.
That's like 78, 79, I think.
Okay, probably.
Yeah, because you get like Rubik and the Amazing Cube in here.
Yuck. Yeah, there's no way I was watching Saturday mornings. Maybe I was sleeping in a little bit by now.
Would you watch Candlepin Bowling at least?
I definitely would, because my mother was on Candlepins for Cash. So that was always it. I was by ipso facto, I was in the background on Candlepins for Cash. Yeah.
She was bowling?
She was bowling, yeah. She made $63.
Oh, wow. And did she make any money for the person at home?
I don't remember.
Did you do
I
it?
just remember realizing how fake everything was on the set.
Because it was in a real bowling alley.
We were in a real bowling alley, but they had like they had flats up, with lights and stuff. It was just kind of like bursting the bubble. My first bubble burst.
That's when you realized showbiz was a lie when you went and saw Candlepins for Cash.
Yeah, I wasn't really that disappointed. I was more just kind of interested, I think.
Well, it's probably good.
Surprised. Definitely surprised.
Because that kept you away from Bob Grimier.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, he went to jail.
Did he?
Oh,
gosh.
yes. Yes, for exactly what you think he did.
Power corrupts. Man.
Yep. But Candlepins for Cash, for people that didn't grow up in Boston, was huge.
Yeah, it was.
That was enormous. Was your mother like just a kick-ass bowler?
I don't remember. I don't know how she got on there. She used to. I remember the one thing. Whenever I think of her in bowling, she took my brother and the Cub Scouts bowling, and I swear to you, Ken, until I was like low 30s, until my mid 30s maybe, I would tell the story how I beat my brother's Cub Scout troop in front of one of my friends. Like, you know what? I don't think you did. I think they just like, you do that with a kid. And I'm like,
yeah, they let you win.
You're right. Yeah. I'm like, how did I not? No one ever told. Like, I felt like it was worse than Santa Claus. I was like, I feel like a jerk. Like, I can't believe how many times I told that story.
But think of all the things you wouldn't have accomplished in that interim time if you didn't have had that confidence from beating them all in bowling.
Good point.
Yeah. They really helped you out there.
It is.
Sunday night, what'd you do?
Sunday night, we got what I had Knight Rider, but I thought there was something at 8:30 because First Blood I definitely would have been all over that.
Yeah, the only good Rambo movie.
Yeah, exactly. But that wasn't like released on HBO or anything, was it?
It was, yeah, but this was the
It was?
Yeah, this was the HBO premiere of First Blood.
Oh, okay.
So
But it was in the theaters.
it had been in the theaters. Yeah. Oh, well, it didn't go straight to HBO. Yeah. This was like 6 months or a year after it had been out in theaters. You could rent
Okay.
it, but HBO
All right.
was the first one to show it on TV. And HBO back in the day used to have their premiere movie nights were Sundays. That's when they would show the big blockbuster movie for the first time.
Oh, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Doo-doo-doo.
Down the street, all the way down the street.
I had a great idea for a Rambo movie.
What was it?
First Blood is in canon. It happened. It's a true
Yeah.
true story. All the other Rambo movies are a psychotic delusion while he's in a mental institution.
Right.
Because the first one is about a guy with PTSD who's out of his mind, and then the rest of them are like crazy, like
Oh, it's
superhero.
33 monkeys.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my idea.
That's great.
Who's in this? Anyone good in this? Knight
In Knight Rider?
Nah, this is a Rebecca Holden episode. This is sort of by the end of the series. Although this is a rip from the headlines topic. Michael investigates a shady businessman who's
Oh, yeah,
exploiting illegal
exploiting,
aliens.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
exploiting it. Yeah, that is. That's, man, well, that shit never stops, I don't think.
I mean, if we only had talking cars now, maybe they would have sorted that out.
Michael. But he was so cool. And driving in and out of the truck, I mean,
That is
great
cool.
video game, by the way. Great stand-up video game.
Oh yeah, the Knight Rider video game, the arcade
Yeah.
game. They still have one of those up in New Hampshire at Fun Spot.
Nice.
If
I
you-
got punched in the face in Quincy. Kid took my quarters.
What happened?
I put, you put your quarters up on the thing.
Yeah, to
if you
call
were
the next game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, those are my quarters. And he punched me in the face. I was just like, oh.
Did your older siblings come in and they're like, "Hey,
I was in Quincy. I was in enemy territory.
that's why you don't go to Quincy"?
Yeah, I didn't do much. I started lifting.
Well, see again, without that incident,
Right.
you wouldn't have Charles Atlas yourself.
Formative. I should look him up.
Yeah, he's basically the guy that kicked sand in your face and made you get all pumped up. That's the story people tell for generations about why you don't go to Quincy from your town now. Be like, yeah, in 1983, Jimmy Bowes went to fucking Quincy, put his quarters
Yeah.
on the machine, got fucking punched
I'm just right in the face, kid.
right in the face, kid, popped him right in the nose.
There's some terrible stories of like the border where like when I think of them, I just see like the last scene in Platoon.
With like gang fights.
Oh yeah, those kids my age took on side. I mean, I think some North Quincy kids were talking trash. They got out of the car. They introduced a crowbar into the fight, and then what happened, Ken?
Knives.
The other people took the crowbar away from them.
Oh.
And beat them up with it. Never, you know what I mean? I don't, I'm not I
I know that we've all done it.
avoided them as much as I could, but it just never made sense to me. Like, introduce something, bring this hard thing into the
And it's-
conflict.
And now you have free license to have it used against you. Bring in a crowbar, it's going to be in your fucking skull. That's what my
I
grandfather
just lifted
said.
a lot, and then I would just yell, and people would run away. I wouldn't have to.
That's a good technique. It's the Incredible Hulk technique.
Ah! Oh yeah, this was already off the air. Also, Dukes of Hazzard off the air. I was surprised that wasn't still on. I mean, in retrospect, not surprised, but
I
thought I was
hated
still watching at that point.
I hated Dukes. I couldn't watch Southern shows.
You couldn't watch what?
Southern shows.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah,
Oh,
but you had no problem with it?
I mean, A, Daisy, B, just cars jumping over shit. I just remember that's all I would draw at that age, is like underneath of a car that just jumped over a river. I just,
Did you ever get to drive like a sports car? Never?
a sports car? What do you mean?
Like a Mustang or like a cool car.
Like
a muscle.
Not anything with real muscle.
Oh man, we got to get one.
We totally should.
You're like, Knight Rider, Duke's car. Like, this is time to live your life. in social distancing, you can go rent yourself a Mustang without having to touch anyone. You go for a day with it. It's like $25 to rent one of those things for a day.
Really?
Yeah. If you got AAA, I've done it. It's pretty fun.
What?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I've rented a Dodge Challenger. That thing kicked ass. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. I'm going to have to talk after we finish and let me know some of these details.
One of my little pleasures in life used to be trying to see if I could talk my way into free upgrades at things by being nice. Like if I could like charm my way into free upgrades.
It is such a relief to them. It's so sad. People are so mean to
They
them.
really are. And I would tell myself that, you know, even though I'm getting something out of it, like they're getting someone being nice to them. But I used to be really good at it. And so almost every time I rented a car, I would get a free upgrade to like a sports car.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I've had like a Mustang a couple times, a Challenger. But those things, man, it's scary driving those.
Yeah. It's like Rick's joke about looking the 99 waitress in the eye.
Yeah. You got to have
Sometimes just talk to those people. Rick Hanneman.
So where were we? 9 o'clock? Did you say what you're doing?
9 o'clock. Yeah. And Richard Pryor, Sunset Strip. I remember watching that with my brothers when I came out.
Did you guys
So I
have?
pretend my parents are out of town.
Did you guys have cable?
Did. Although I'm surprised we kept it because one of the first shows that we watched, I watched a movie. It was a movie about these track stars, and I saw the name Hemingway. I'm like, it must be somehow valid, and a little bit. And Personal Best came on,
Mm-hmm.
and my father looked up from the paper during like a steam room scene where these young women are splayed upon the steps, chatting. And he just was like, "What is this coming into my house?"
It's a Hemingway movie.
He was. You should have seen him when in the East Milton movie theater they played a certain James Bond movie, Octopussy. He was beside himself, and he wasn't like a Dudley Do-Right, or he wasn't like a, telling people how to live their life. But he just.
Well, it's probably because his kids were with him. I imagine if he
Yeah.
was with his buddies, he would have been cheering it on.
You probably maybe.
But yeah, Richard Pryor Live at the Sunset Strip is probably the best stand-up special of all time.
I would say so. I mean, as far as just, people just totally revealing, like absolutely everything. What are people thinking right now as they're looking at me? And I'm going to talk about it.
One of my favorite lines is that, and he was like, when you're on fire, people get out of your way. Which is, so the weird thing is, and someone will correct me, I'm sure. I know there were stand-up specials prior to Richard Pryor's Live on the Sunset Strip. I know Robert Klein did one in the 70s for HBO. There was a couple of things, but that special redefined the way that we do stand-up specials. And the format of that special is more or less still exactly how people do stand-up specials.
Is that so?
Yeah. I mean,
What do you mean as far as like the shots and stuff?
the,
Or like,
yeah, the way it's set up, the way it's staged, the sort of format, the length of it, it's pretty much exactly how people do stand-up specials.
okay.
And it's weird because, it's great, but it was presented as a concert film, as a documentary. And it's where the people went, oh, all stand-up films should be this now, which is weird.
Well, I don't know when. I mean, there's actually during this week there's an Eddie Murphy thing on HBO that just says comedy,
Yeah.
and I don't know what that was.
He did a short comedy special on HBO while he was still on SNL.
Okay.
But I mean, Eddie Murphy Raw is really,
I remember going to theaters for that.
but that's him trying to do Sunset Strip.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
which is understandable, but it's like the impact of that special cannot be that movie cannot be underestimated. And it's great. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there were people who did other stuff too. Like you had, Sandra Bernhard did one called Without You, I'm Nothing that I loved.
Oh yeah.
But it was a stand-up show she did, but in the movie version, it's like more cinematic. Like they did stuff you could do because it's a movie.
Okay.
But yeah, I love
I
that.
probably saw it because I liked all her stuff.
You passed up Goodnight Beantown?
Yeah. What the hell was that?
So you remember Chet and Natalie?
Yeah.
This was a TV series.
Chestnuts roasting on open fire after
right.
she caught him. Yeah.
So Chet and Natalie were for people that don't know, were local news anchors. They anchored the 10 o'clock news together, and they were married. Was the deal? Goodnight Beantown.
Very sweet.
It was until he cheated on her.
Yeah.
But Goodnight Beantown was a sitcom starring Bill Bixby based on Chet and Natalie.
Wow, I can't believe I passed that up because I loved Incredible Hulk, and I didn't like Courtship of Eddie's father, but I stuck around longer than I would have.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's a dramedy. It was shot on film. It was only about maybe 13 episodes. I think it started before Cheers, so it was like a rare show set in Boston.
Right.
It's hard to see. There's a few episodes up online. It's a fun show. I should mention, too, that since we're October 23rd, there's some fun Halloween stuff. Not necessarily the news has a Halloween episode.
Oh, I love that show.
I loved it. It doesn't hold up, but I loved it.
No? All right.
Well, because
the man who was in New York, a man is robbed every 15 seconds.
Yes.
Today we meet that man. I mean,
that show was like Conan O'Brien's first post-college writing gig, was not necessarily the news.
Is that so? Well,
yeah, a lot of people who went on to do a ton of great stuff wrote on not necessarily the news, but because it was so dependent on what was going on in the news,
yeah,
you almost have to do research before you watch the episode to get what the hell they're talking about, a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, a lot, yeah, but not everything. A lot of it was just physical and stupid.
Not Sniglets.
Sniglets was great.
Yeah.
That should be something. That should still be a thing. Like we have a lot to add to that thing.
Sniglets was weirdly such a huge phenomenon because it was Rich Hall. He did it on not necessarily the news. Not a lot of people had HBO, but everybody knew Sniglets. Like there were books he put out. He moved to the UK and he does a ton of stuff in England.
Oh, wow.
Rich Hall. Yeah. But I love that show. And Halloween 3, the best of the sequels, is on HBO.
Halloween 3, like Michael Myers Halloween?
Well, it's that series, but it's the one without Michael Myers.
Oh, okay. I didn't touch that stuff.
You don't like horror movies?
No, I mean, Friday the 13th, maybe I would have seen it by then. Just barely, though.
Friday the 13th came out in 1980, and then they had one come out every single year.
Oh, okay. So, no, I probably didn't see Friday the 13th until like probably 85 or 86.
Did you guys have a VCR?
We did, but I just didn't want to see those things.
You were scared.
Yes, Ken, I was scared. You know what happened right about that time is I was reading the Amityville Horror book, and I was terrified. So twice this happened. I threw it out, and then I went to bed the next night, and it was next to my bed because my mother, but it's funny because I didn't ask her right away because I was kind of afraid that I just, just kid stuff, but then I just didn't, I didn't get into those shows.
Did you see the movie?
Which?
Amityville Horror?
Oh, Amityville Horror. Yeah, eventually, yeah. But that horrified me too. The flies on the windows. That was all debunked as bullshit, right?
Yes. Because those people didn't want to pay their mortgage.
Right. Yeah.
Which is hilarious that these two Long Island trash bags didn't want to pay their mortgage because they paid too much for a house. So they made up stuff about the devil.
Yeah. And now, and blah, yada, yada, yada. I wake up in the middle of the night seeing a pig with red eyes.
Jody? Yeah, that's a terrible movie. Just a bad series.
It's Sunday and Monday, by the way.
We're on Monday now.
Oh, okay.
What'd you do?
I don't know. I had multiple because when Newhart.
Yep.
If my parents were home, we would have had to watch Newhart, but they wouldn't have watched Sunset Strip either.
You're saying having to watch Newhart was a bad thing? No.
It would have been great, but we wouldn't have watched Sunset Strip that night.
Oh yeah, because you wouldn't watch prior with your parents. But Newhart is amazing. It's one of my favorite sitcoms of the 80s. Monday Night CBS was fantastic. This is 83, so it's the first season of Newhart, I believe.
Okay.
You passed up That's Incredible.
I had that written down too. I gave myself 2 nights here, evidently.
I always have to read what's on That's Incredible.
I had Sunday, Sunday's not Richard Pryor.
Sunday's Richard Pryor.
Oh, okay, yeah. I had That's Incredible. What did I say for 8 o'clock?
You said Newhart.
Oh, but that's 9:30.
Okay.
No, I had That's Incredible, and then I had After MASH.
Oh,
I would have fell for that.
It's bad.
I bet it's really bad. But I got to tell you something. This is one of the things I wanted to tell you. I was like, MASH. Oh man, I saw MASH on Hulu or something, and I went back and I watched the first episode, and I was like, it was okay. It was like, Hawkeye and Peter were like, yeah, we really like girls, and it was kind of corny, but it was kind of cool, nostalgic a little bit. But they said this thing that made my jaw drop. That first of all, in the swamp, which is their tent.
Yep.
There's this black dude in there, and he says a couple lines. I don't even know what he says. He's not really involved in the plot yet. He's like sleeping, and they're trying to raise money for this young South Korean kid to go to college in the United States. I'm like, this is how I remember the show, like progressive, heartwarming, And BJ goes, I have an idea. Why don't we sell Spear Chucker while he's asleep?
Ooh.
I was like, and the thing is, like, at first I'm like I was like mad at MASH, but then I'm like, I can't believe that would like float by people as like, I think maybe at that point in the late 70s was like a brave, we can joke about it now thing. But I mean,
you could
I just was like, holy crap.
You could maybe justify it by saying that character was an asshole, but
Yeah, but they didn't establish him yet. I didn't hear them use that name with him or that, that's what we do in the army.
Oh, it's
this
awful.
is Israeli Joe and whatever.
yeah, it's awful. Awful. That's awful. Yeah.
And you know what, Ken? Thank you, because I've told a couple people that story and they're just like waiting for me to tell them more. I'm like, did you hear this?
Yeah, you've been hanging out with too many Boston comics. Their complaint would be like, oh, they cleaned it up for TV?
I have not hung with Boston Comics in a little while.
We all know Boston comics who would probably still do that bit on stage now. At least two.
They shall remain nameless.
Yeah, but no, it's shocking. It's shocking. It's shocking when that stuff is used as the joke itself, and
Right.
and would have been shocking then. Like that would have been a shocking thing for someone to say then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that
I wonder if there was any like blowback for it.
I don't remember. I've never read anything about blowback from MASH for that. The things that really disturb people are obviously the final episode with the "it was a baby" thing. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh man, it's the final episode, and it's Alan Alda, and he's in an asylum. Like the war is over, and he's recovering in an asylum, and you find out why he's there.
Because they end it with him being pulled out and like shelled out with hot lips, right?
Yeah,
That's like how it ends. Yeah.
But he's telling this story about how he's on a bus with all these Vietnamese like refugees, and they're all trying to escape, and he's trying to keep them all quiet because they shut off all the lights because they're going to get attacked. And he tells the story of this woman as a chicken, and the chicken makes noise.
Yes!
So he makes.
Yes, I remember that.
So in the
I have chills.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the story, he makes her kill this chicken so it shuts up. But then by the end of the episode, he realized that he's misremembered it to try and stay sane. And it wasn't a chicken, it was a baby. And this woman had to kill her own baby so it would shut up. Like, what the hell? That's a sitcom.
Yeah, but I remember, especially life and death stuff and war. I mean, the whole thing, that was the war is hell kind of.
Well, it's teaching you that that's awful. Like you don't want, like you need to know the horrors of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like this is what war pushes to people, and fear and
which we don't get.
I remember being confused. I remember it screwed me up as a history teacher now. Like I was like, the Vietnam and Korean wars weren't like right next to each other.
Yeah.
But on TV they were.
Well, yeah, because they're making a show about Vietnam, but calling it Korea so they can do it.
Right. But did it switch to Vietnam later? Or no?
No, it was always Korea. And the show went on longer than the Korean War did.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
Which is pretty amazing. But yeah, I mean, that's how you could get away with being subversive about the Vietnam War. You just call it a different war.
Sure.
That's incredible that night. And I always have to read these because they're always incredible. But this is segments on a sculptor who reconstructed the face of King Tut, a man who won $5 million after asking a friend to pick up a New York lotto ticket for him, a man who attempts to escape from a steel box underwater, and a man who
favorite.
perfected a device to ease his granddaughter's circulatory problem.
I have to tell you that I'm going to sound like a real jerk right now, but when I looked at those, I was like, oh, snooze city,
No,
man. Except for the steel cage.
Yeah. But that might be the most boring episode of That's Incredible ever.
Fran Tarkington was probably scrambling. Oh, yeah, what?
I bet it was everything except the steel box underwater. And then they're like, guys, we got to have something in here. Can we throw a guy in a box and throw it in the water or anything? Can we get Lonnie Anderson and Linda Carter to put on some bikinis?
Bikinis, send them to Miami.
Anything. At 9:00, you didn't watch The Haunting Passion with my good friend Jane Seymour?
No, but I did see her in an ad on the TV Guide.
Yeah, The Haunting Passion. This is she fears him. She senses him. She loves him. She wants him. A man she's never seen. The Haunting Passion, starring Jane Seymour and Gerald McRaney.
Oh my! I mean, if someone read me that like you just did, then I would be on board.
This is, and then it says, an eerie TV movie about a wife possessed by a spectral lover.
Oh my goodness!
I might have to shoot Jane an email and ask her about that. Because that's my life and a thing I can do.
I would have, if my mother was around, she might have been pulled towards that. Although I don't think she was on our radar yet, because Medicine Woman is until a long.
That
time.
was 92. So your mom was a big Jane Seymour fan.
Later, yeah.
Yeah. Who wasn't? Jane Seymour's great.
She wouldn't have liked ghost sex though.
No, I mean, well, you don't.
She would
know.
have rattled the paper. Those are what she would do.
She might have kept some things to herself. You don't know.
You're right. She was human.
Yeah, she was human. All mothers have a right to like ghost sex. Newhart that night is Dick refuses to become another character in Erica's tell-all book, and Stephanie, good friend of the show, Julia Duffy, sees
Yes.
her career at the end about to be cut short by her father. This is a very funny episode. This is season 2.
This show is a great comfort family show for us.
Here's the funny thing. So Stella Stevens, who was in Newhart that week,
Okay.
was also in The Love Boat this week. We're only on
All right.
Monday. So she
Wow.
was in Love Boat Saturday. On Sunday, she was in a TV movie about women in prison. With
Is that swinging cheerleaders? No.
it's
That was a different one?
it's literally called like Women of San Quentin, starring Stella
I did see the ad for that. Sorry.
and
Yes.
Amy Steele and Yaphet Kotto.
Okay.
And then Monday, she's in Newhart. So she's in a different thing 3 nights in a row.
She is not staying in her lane, and good for her.
Yeah, Stella Stevens, going for it.
Go girl.
I need to watch The Haunting Passion this week. I'm going to watch it after we're done with this. Ooh. So Tuesday, what are you watching?
Tuesday. Oh my God. Oh, Tuesday, I was so psyched to see Buck Rogers before primetime. I used to let Aaron Gray. Oh.
Yeah.
And Mork and Mindy. That show was just, I didn't think that was off the air already and like in repeat. But
There's an interesting thing at 7:30 on Tuesday as a Boston comedian you may find interesting. Chronicle that night.
okay.
An interview with comedian Tom Lehrer and a look at the opening of his show Tomfoolery in Boston,
Oh my goodness. Wow.
which is kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, Buck Rogers is a great show. I was watching like MeTV or one of those stations last night actually, and I was shocked because they're showing new transfers of Buck Rogers, like from the original film, and it looks like a brand new show.
Huh.
It's
Wow.
insane. Like it looks crazy good.
Yeah. I liked that show. I thought it was a pretty good show.
The space
Like
vampire.
1984, like the series basically.
Yeah, sort of. Well, but a little silly.
No, I mean, yeah, they were freer, but
So you passed up the A-Team.
the A-Team. Wait. Oh, wait, no. So 8:00, I go. Here's the thing. I definitely want to watch Happy Days. I loved Happy Days. So I would probably watch the Paul Newman thing, the special.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But you're missing out on one of the worst sitcoms ever, Just Our Luck, which stars T.K. Carter, who people know as Mike from Punky Brewster, but he's also in The Thing,
Okay.
as a genie named Shabu, who zaps into Keith's Uncle Harry from Wisconsin, but it's the wrong Harry who wanders off in a daze. A show
Yuck.
about a genie. Yeah. Bad.
Yeah, there was a lot of programs I didn't recognize.
Yeah, and this is the night, this is on this Happy Days episode, this is the one where Ron Howard comes back
Yeah, I did see that.
with a mustache.
And so literally Happy Days has already jumped the shark. You know what's so funny about that saying is I thought that was the coolest episode when I was a kid.
Well, as we've established,
I mean,
you like
yeah.
vehicles jumping over things.
That's true. Good point.
Have you ever?
It's like, do I offer you a copay after this?
Yeah, I take a copay. It's a co-insurance. Have you ever driven a motorcycle?
I never have, no.
Neither have I. I have no interest.
No, I like the big thing around me.
Yeah. I want a car to be completely sealed off from the outside world. I don't even like the windows open.
I wanted one. I thought I did. My brother was selling his. I was like, I'll buy it. And he goes, no, I'm not. I'm not telling our mother that I gave you a motorcycle. If you want one, you'll go get it.
It was a lemon, wasn't it? And he didn't want you to be the one that got stuck.
No, I think he truly cared about me, or he didn't want to get in trouble. And
Fair enough. My dad, which I'm always just shocked to hear, the first vehicle he had when he was 15 was a motorcycle, and he drove a motorcycle for like years and years, which is hilarious. If you've ever met my dad,
when he was like younger,
yeah,
we had a moped. My dad had a moped, and I got in big trouble because I kind of took it.
You stole it
without permission. Some people would call it stealing.
Did you? So you borrowed? All right, kid. You borrowed the fucking moped and drove to Quincy. Got in a crowbar fight.
I borrowed it. No, I ditched it at a buddy's, and we'd ride it around in the cemetery on the weekends. For a couple of weeks.
Nice, tearing up the graves.
Oh no, it's tearing the roads, tearing up the graves.
No wonder you don't like horror movies. You feel like you're due.
Yeah, I was living one.
Yeah. So the funniest thing about this Happy Days episode is, so Ron Howard left 3 or 4 seasons before this. The show stopped pretending it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
It started shooting on video, and Ron Howard shows up with a full mustache looking as 1983 as you can get.
That mustache was terrible.
And it just is weird. It's just weird.
I was full on board like that through Joni Loves Chachi, all of that.
Wow. So
I blame my sister. She is a big cultural influence on me.
Yeah. You had no choice. I mean,
I had no choice.
She controls the TV. You had one TV in the house?
We did. We had one upstairs, but I think I've been like, in my parents' room because I remember a lot of times I would watch the Celtics or the Red Sox up there by myself.
Oh, that's the reverse of most households.
Well, they would be watching some downstairs in their comfortable chairs, and plus, like I wouldn't want people talking, and I think I'm not like a big sports fan, but there was like 83 to 88. I really pretended I was, or.
Well, you had to for the Celtics.
Yeah.
They were like the biggest team on earth.
I did enjoy it. I love the Celtics. I still love watching. I love watching all football, but it's the last time I paid attention. I guess I was into it, but I mean, I remember being all dramatic about it. Like I need to be by myself.
Stop talking to me. You're ruining it. Bird's got the ball. He's throwing it to Ainge.
You're gonna jinx it.
Oh, they're gonna lose it. It's your fault. The movie you were talking about earlier with the dad from Silver Spoons, who is shirtless in this ad.
Yeah.
It's a made-for-TV movie called First Affair.
First Affair.
And it stars Melissa Sue Anderson as a Harvard freshman who has an affair with the husband of her English professor.
Uh-oh.
The funny thing about this, though, is that Amanda Bierce is in it, who people may know her as Marcy from Married with Children.
Oh, Marcy.
Yeah, and this is
one of the great characters.
Pre-Fright Night, so this is maybe one of the first things she was in.
By the way, all-time favorite character on Happy Days, Jenny Piccolo.
Yeah?
I love Jenny Piccolo, yeah.
Like a crush on her, or you thought it was just a good character?
I thought kind of mix, She was just, the person that you would just like say anything at a party and kind of crack you.
Yeah.
She was always just, she was like a female boner.
I know what you meant. You meant boner from growing pains,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
but you said this woman was like a female boner.
Well, either way, I think it's a compliment.
Yes. No, I would take it as a compliment. Did you hear my episode with Donnie Most?
I did not. So no, Ralph Mouth.
Should listen
Oh
to that
man.
one. You'd enjoy it. I won't ruin it. There's some fun
Oh, yeah,
stories.
I'm definitely gonna do that.
One thing I noticed that was funny on Tuesday night is that Three's Company's on.
Yep.
Is
Love
the-
Three's Company. Well, love hate. I still like. I just the misunderstandings of the kitchen door. Like, I thought they could have I don't know.
It's
This seems.
It's a bad show,
Yeah.
but has a very likable cast.
Does.
The weirdest thing though is Three's Company is a remake of a UK show
Really.
called Man About the House. And
Okay.
I don't remember this, but the interesting thing is Three's Company is on ABC that night.
Yeah.
And then our local UHF station, TV 56, at the same time is showing an episode of Man About the House.
Oh my gosh. Really.
So I wonder, and it's the character names are the same. So there's Chrissy and, and the Ropers. And
Wow.
I wonder if someone just got confused and they thought they were watching Three's Company and they're like, why are they British all of a sudden? They look
So,
weird.
Don Knotts was second after the Ropers.
Yeah, it's the Ropers first and then Mr. Furley. Horny Don Knotts.
Oh, he was great.
I've thought about, in lockdown, I've thought about trying some fashion risks. And one of the things I've considered is a neckerchief.
Ascot, right?
Not a full ascot, but just a little tie, like Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference.
That was always so unnecessary.
It's a weird look, but I might
Clothing appendix on him.
Yeah, Mike, a neck
You were
appendix.
so funny, man. That's a great detail.
Wednesday, what are you doing?
Wednesday. Well, and then 9:30. I wish I would have watched Oh Madeline,
With Madeline Kahn.
Madeline Kahn, but I don't think I would have. I think I would have switched to Vietnam.
That show is very short-lived.
Yeah, which is a shame.
It is a shame. It's
For her.
very slapsticky. Like she's very good at it, but it just wasn't. It didn't use her well,
Okay.
which I was always sort of annoyed about. Wednesday.
Wednesday. Wednesday was tough. 8 p.m. anyways, because of the stupid political debate, which definitely would have been out of my house. And stupid me probably would have been interested in it too.
And this is local, so this is Mel King and Ray Flynn. It's a Boston mayoral debate.
Okay. Yeah, then probably double down on that would be on TV. But I would wish to be watching The Fall Guy, or maybe they would let me go watch The Fall Guy upstairs. I didn't really like that show, but I was a huge $6 Million fan, and I just would have $6 Million man. Excuse me.
Although
I gave him a lot of room on Fall Guy.
now I want to make a show called The $6 Million Fan. That's about. Would it be about a $6 Million Man fan, or would it be about like a? Oh, here's what it's about.
Huge fan.
Some towny sports fan, right?
Yeah.
Like a ridiculous Boston towny sports fan gets trampled at like Fenway Park or something, right?
Okay.
So as a show of goodwill so that they don't get sued, they pay $6 million to rebuild him. So he becomes like a bionic fan of all the Boston sports.
Yeah, he could have 6 beers all around his head.
Yeah, he's like Inspector Gadget.
Dum-dum.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that if they would have a huge tsunami warning and they'd get this $6 million fan that would blow the
Blows it
water
away.
back.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a very short-lived show, but we could go that way too.
Well, you'd have to build to it. It wouldn't be a good title, would it?
So this episode of Fall Guy is Colt, Lee Majors, poses as a getaway driver in a government operation to nail a crime ring's slippery Mr. Big.
Oh, Mr. Big, man.
I didn't like that show either, but I did enjoy the theme song. Which charted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were singing Just a Good Old Boy. That's Duke's.
It was, yeah.
This
I
one
started
is,
that. It was similar.
I'm the unknown stunt man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Real People that night, I 100% would have watched. It's a Halloween special. This is a Halloween show, includes a man who wears a red gorilla suit and lives in a flying saucer.
Oh my gosh.
A sci-fi ball held in San Diego, a warlock who sculpts alien creatures, and Los Angeles TV horror hostess Elvira.
Oh man. Well, yeah. If I read that, I might be pulled to it. If I had read it,
It's
a lot of times I would just go with whatever,
yeah, I mean,
automatic
you're watching
habit.
what's ever on, but
Right.
yeah, I mean that's pretty great. There's a made-for-TV horror movie on 56 from 1978 called Stranger in the House, which stars Lee Purcell and Linda Blair, which is kind of fun. Linda Blair is a witch,
Blair Witch. And
but not the Blair Witch.
not the Blair Witch.
Yeah, and I'd watch anything with Elvira, especially at that time.
Yeah. Like, come on.
Friend of the show. I've shared a Sunday with her.
Oh yeah. Oh nice. Wow.
Yep. She
Wow.
sent me a birthday gift once.
That's awesome.
She's the best. She's awesome. 9 o'clock.
Facts of life.
Yeah. And it's the Halloween episode.
Oh, is it?
This is one with Edna's Edibles. This is one with Mr. Lazzaroni, who was a new character they tried to introduce, who was this old man from Maine,
Oh gosh.
who had a catchphrase that was amazing. That was his catchphrase.
Isn't it just so terrible when something's so clunky like that, when they try to like roll something out?
It's not natural. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
This episode, they think Mrs. Garrett is killing people and putting them in sausages.
Of course she is.
Yeah, I believe it. It's a fun one. But
A lot of double entendre, I bet.
there's a made-for-TV movie on that has a full-page ad here
Yeah. Right.
that looks absolutely terrifying. And it's called the comedy drama. It stars Dom DeLuise as a clown named Happy. And Happy is a one-time TV children's show host who makes news again as the chief witness and later desperate avenger of a homicide.
He's crusty.
But he becomes a vigilante. He goes out, he witnesses a murder, and then he goes and hunts down the murderer as a clown.
I don't know if I see that.
It's a giant full-page ad.
Oh, there it is. As Dom DeLuise would say,
I do love Dom DeLuise.
oh, it's so great. Yeah, I mean, the Cannonball Runs, corners they were, but, at least first one,
Did you ever see The End with him and Burt Reynolds trying to kill themselves?
no.
It's a comedy about suicide with the two of them.
Man.
It's really dark and really funny. It's very good.
The end.
It's called The End, yeah. From 1980, I think. It's very, very
Okay.
good. So is that the whole night? And then did you do Family Ties?
And then Family Ties, yeah. That's one of my favorite all-time shows.
This is a great episode. I remember where Elise and Mallory get jealous of each other. This is one where they want a modeling career. So Mallory enters herself and Elise in a mother-daughter modeling contest, but then Elise steals the show. So she gets very jealous.
Is Elise the mother?
Yeah. Meredith,
Oh,
Baxter,
okay.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Yep. So this is 83. So it's pre-Nick, good friend of the show, Scott Valentine.
Oh man, could you expand on that, Nick?
Oh
He
yeah.
was great.
He's a good dude. So Thursday, 8 o'clock, what'd you do?
Thursday, 8:00. That was Magnum. Another one of my favorite shows. Probably does not hold up.
This episode's pretty
The
great.
shorts, anyways, I know don't hold up.
Well, they don't hold up much. But speaking of female boners, but this one, this is after a pilot survives a crash landing on Robin's estate, Magnum discovers their survival wasn't in the plan. 2 guest stars in this are amazing. Richard Roundtree,
Who's that?
Shaft,
Okay, all right.
and Joanna Kearns,
Oh man,
who's the mom from Growing Pains.
right.
I once wrote a thing for Richard Roundtree.
Really?
I wrote
What do you mean?
I wrote a thing called The Treasures of Black Cinema, which was this DVD set of what they used to call race films from the 1930s
Right.
that were all black cast movies.
Yeah.
And Richard Roundtree hosted it, and I wrote all the segments that he hosted.
No way. That's really cool.
So
Ken.
it was pretty fun because I didn't meet him, but literally I emailed the scripts, and then a couple weeks later I got a DVD of Richard Roundtree saying everything I wrote. It got paid and everything. I was like, how was
Wow.
this? It was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool. But I feel like I want to watch that episode now. Richard Roundtree and Joanna Kearns.
Yeah, that was that show I loved, and I loved their like a couple of 2-hour specials like stayed with me.
This episode of Give Me a Break, though, as well, that's on Against Magnum PI. You didn't pick it, but I only mention it because it's the episode that introduces the world to new series regular as a 6-year-old orphan, Joey Lawrence.
Oh gosh, whoa,
Whoa,
big moment.
That's what launched Joey Lawrence. So thankfully you are watching Magnum PI for an hour, so you skip Mama's Family.
Oh yeah, that was a huge. It was from Carol Burnett show, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a kind of spin-off from it.
But it was terrible.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Like real bad.
We never.
Maybe my least favorite sitcom of all time. In fact, not.
Do you hate it worse than Wilson?
Wilson? Oh.
Don't you hate Wilson?
Home Improvement?
Yeah.
I do hate Home Improvement, but they at least had Halloween episodes that were worth watching, and the Tool Time Girls were worth watching. But Mama's Family?
Yeah, no question.
No.
I kind of liked the show. I liked the mother. I thought she was great.
Patricia Heaton? She the mother?
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 o'clock, what'd you do?
9 o'clock. So here's what we do: Simon and Simon, and then if my mother went to bed, we'd watch Cheers. But she didn't like to watch Cheers, so I'd go up and watch Cheers. She would say, "Oh, I want to see what happens," or if she wasn't really interested in Simon and Simon, or if it was a repeat up there, because in Cheers they made Coach look stupid. So, and my dad was a coach, and so she couldn't let that go. Yeah.
But Coach was supposed to have like head injuries.
I know, but he was kind of the butt. That was the basically the setup for almost every joke.
That's true. That's true. But he was beloved.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying it was justified. That she saw that and then she kind of didn't give it a chance.
I get that. That's interesting.
She thought they were laughing at him, and that was enough to.
Yeah.
She didn't like, it wasn't like a virtue signaler or anything.
No. It was very on the surface. She's like, nope, don't laugh at Coach, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I loved the sort of weird father-son relationship that Coach and Sam had, which was
so great.
And Sam felt really grateful for him, which is why I gave him the job as the bartender there.
Right.
And I always, even as a kid, I kind of wrote off his being dumb as like, well, the guy's not a bartender. You know what I mean? He's like, he's a coach. If he was talking about baseball, he'd be on it. But he's just kind of threw him a bone, and he's not a bartender, But
it was great. Then I was watching that that was one of my pandemic shows, and then I was watching one where he started coaching a little league team, and Corey
Feldman,
not Feldman's on it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great actor. Corey Feldman was actually on the Bad News Bears TV series as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he was real little. With Jack Warden was the lead.
Jack Warden, oh man.
But there's also We Got It Made On, which is Terry Copley and Tom Villard, and that was sort of a reverse Three's Company.
Yeah.
And on Simon and Simon that night, I do want to mention that this is a crossover episode with the show Whiz Kids.
I saw Whiz Kids and I didn't remember it at all.
Whiz Kids was about a team. It was almost like the Bloodhound Gang, but it was like about a team of teenage computer hackers who solved crimes. Because computers could do anything in 1983.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, war games and such.
So this episode, the Simons call upon a computer genius, the kid from Whiz Kids, to help in a murder investigation involving a pair of look-alike friends and double-booked airline reservations.
Oh, the old airline reservations. The computers went right to that all the time, right?
Yep. And
that's a favorite.
This one also has a guest starring role by Jonathan Banks, who people probably know from Better Call Saul, and who was a sort of a jobbing actor for years and years and years.
I know. I loved him in Airplane.
Oh yeah,
he's all over the place. What an asshole!
Yes. And Cheers that night. This is Diane's perfect date is ex-con Andy, played by Derek McGrath, who returns to Cheers and purposely botches a holdup to get tossed back in the slammer. So for Halloween, the first 3 seasons of Cheers, they brought Andy back. He tried to kill them all a couple times. He was like Diane's psycho ex.
There's the one where they're all hiding in the office, right?
Yep. And then there's the one where he makes them do the Shakespeare play.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty funny. I love that one. And Friday. Final night of the week.
Friday was, I didn't see a lot. I went with that Friday. I always remember the Dukes of Hazzard. and I couldn't remember what else. But so I went with the toy, and then at 9:30, Monty Python,
So I
maybe,
reckon
and then go back for commercials.
I recognize that the toy, and I never use this word, but I will use it only in reference to the toy, is problematic.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Richard Pryor is so goddamn likable.
Right. Yeah, it does. You don't even think that way.
I've met Scotty Schwartz before, who's the kid
Really?
from the toy. He's out of his mind. He lost his mind as a kid actor. He made 2 porno movies and
Oh,
then
geez.
continued to work at his dad's Hollywood memorabilia store. But I stood
my.
behind him in line once at a Dunkin' Donuts, and he talks to himself, like full on talks to himself. Like he was,
All right.
he's literally doing this. What are you going to order? I don't know. What do you want? I don't want that. I'm going to order that. You would order that. No, I don't want that. Get a
All right.
coffee. I don't want coffee. Like that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right.
Teresa Gansel, who I mentioned, who was in the Duck Factory, plays
Yeah.
US's wife, Fancy.
UAS.
UAS. She's amazing. I've had her on the show, and she
Yeah.
told me an incredible story about Jackie Gleason when they were filming the toy.
Really?
She got invited to his hotel, and she was like, oh, okay. And he wasn't staying in the hotel with everyone else. They were all staying in this Holiday Inn. They shot it
Right.
in, I think, Georgia or North Carolina. It was somewhere that was trying to get more productions, like somewhere down south.
Okay.
And so she's like, oh, Jackie Gleason stays at this other hotel because it's Jackie Gleason. He must be like, I'm not staying at the Holiday Inn. And they were like, and she gets there and he wants to show her his telescope.
He does.
Not a euphemism. Because apparently the reason he didn't want to stay at the Holiday Inn was whenever he traveled, he would stay in the tallest hotel available and he would stay up all night looking for UFOs.
I was just gonna say, did he have alien bodies there?
Yep.
Yeah. Supposedly he saw them, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he was
Tell a couple people in confidence.
obsessed with aliens.
Yeah.
And so that's what he'd do, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, but you can't. Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason, you can't pass that up. At first, I was dismayed. I didn't see a lot that attracted me. But
Well,
that's
I don't
good.
know. You passed up Mr. Smith, the cover model. This is Mr. Smith goes bananas over a TV orangutan, but his first date jitters when it's time to meet her. So the orangutan who talks and is the president
Yeah.
goes on a date with another orangutan that he saw on TV and thinks is hot.
Wow.
And this
Wow.
is a live action network sitcom on at 8 p.m.
I don't know how. I like my orangutans punching people out of truck windows. That's it.
Benson that night sounds kind of grim.
Benson was great.
I love Benson.
I wouldn't have watched it that. I never didn't watch it that young though.
This is Benson's preparations for a successful luau go down the drain when he finds a dead plumber under the kitchen sink. Benson had a lot of murders. There's a Halloween 2-parter. From the season before, there's a 2-part Halloween episode where they go on a boat and this guy's murdering everybody. And at first, like watching it, I thought it was a dream episode, but it's not. Like there are people getting murdered.
That's great. Does Benson have was it like almost like a single or double, like only 2 different sets or I just picture that living room.
Yeah, it's sort of the kitchen and then
Kitchen, living room,
the governor's office, living room.
Oh,
thing.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
It was a pretty limited set show, but Robert Guillaume is great on that show. 8:30, you passed up It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Oh, you know what? I saw that as I was looking again through today. I wrote that down somewhere else that I would definitely go watch The Great Pumpkin. Then commercials, I'd go back to the toy.
Do you know why 2020 is significant in the world of The Great Pumpkin?
Because he's going to come out of the pumpkin patch and give toys to all the good boys and girls.
This is the year, man. This is the year.
This is the year?
Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown has ran on a network every year since it premiered in 1966.
Okay.
Every Halloween from 1966 to 2000, it was on CBS and then it went on ABC until 2019.
Yeah.
2020 is the first year it will not air.
It won't air?
No, Apple bought the exclusive rights to The Great Pumpkin, and so it's only available on iTunes. So this is the 2020 is the first year since 1966 that it didn't air. And I get that we can watch it anytime we want on,
Yeah.
but it just, there's something about watching it when it's just on.
So now it's not on because it used to be. Maybe I think we might have it.
I think everybody probably owns it, but still.
That one, Linus, man, I kind of lost sympathy for him halfway through that.
Because he seems like
He
a
just kept
nutcase.
Yeah, or just, I just thought he was just pushing it too hard,
Fair enough.
And partly I just felt bad for Sally.
Yeah. So you're a Sally guy.
Sally, yeah.
So you also passed up
That's it.
the show Jennifer Slept Here.
I saw the ad for that with the girl in the jar. I love Gillian Anderson now. I don't know if my sensibilities turned it towards her then. She wasn't on my radar.
So Anne Gillian, who's from Cambridge, Mass.
Yeah.
This is a show where she plays a horny dead movie star who is, her ghost is stuck in the mansion she used to live in. And this family from New York moves in and only the teenage son can see her.
He's the only one that can hear her?
The only one who can see or hear her. And this was on for 8 whole episodes. We'd be shocked. But this episode is a big deal because this one has a special guest starring role by Zelda Rubinstein from Poltergeist.
Oh, wow.
And Poltergeist was out the year before. So this is still pretty contemporary. This one, George hires an exorcist to rid the house of Janice's spirit. Rubinstein plays a similar role in the movie Poltergeist. So they actually do trap her in this jar and almost get her out of the house. And then Joey has to save her because he actually wants her there. It's kind of a fun show. And then 9 o'clock, you passed up Manimal.
Manimal?
You don't remember Manimal?
No, not at all.
Oh man, Manimal was a show that NBC almost went bankrupt over, and it stars Simon McCorkindale, who is this British sort of James Bond type guy, who is a rich guy who I think was taught by like people in the rainforest how to turn into animals.
There's a word for it in Harry Potter. I forget what it is.
So he's almost like the Beastmaster if the Beastmaster could turn into animals.
Okay.
So he can turn into any animal, but because of the special effects budget, he only ever turned into a hawk or a panther. But this one, he tries to learn the identity of a girl raised in India by wolves and why someone would want to kill her.
Wow. Poor girl. Someone wants to kill her. She already made it out of being raised by wolves, and now someone wants to kill her. Huh?
Yeah, why would someone want to kill a poor girl that was raised by wolves? Also, you said you'd watch Monty Python at 9:30, but here's a question for you. Monty Python's on 2 different PBS stations, Channel 11 and Channel 12, at the same time, 2 different episodes. Which one you watching?
Oh my gosh. That's like AP TV guidance counselor.
Yeah.
It's 9:30.
I mean, you set yourself up for this Sophie's Choice.
Wait, I'm still on Wednesday. Was this Friday?
Friday.
I mean, I look through this thing so often. It's just so funny. It's really comforting. See all these shows and stuff.
I mean, that's what's gotten me through the last 8 years.
You know what's funny? Am I wrong, or did they only like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday they print like late night shows? Everything else gets cut off at like midnight.
Yeah.
Funny thing, those are the weeks you can stay up. Those are the days you can stay up.
So
9:30. Monty Python's Flying Circus. A man changed from street clothes to swim trunks turns into a burlesque act. Karate class exercises. Defense tactics against fresh fruit. Oh, that's great.
Which is a classic.
Or an offbeat look at the Spanish Inquisition. If I see that announced, I'm in there.
I feel like you had to go to that one.
Spanish Inquisition. Go ahead.
I don't mean to brag, but did I tell you I spent a whole day with John Cleese?
Did you really?
Yes.
Was he on the show? Did you do like an interview?
I interviewed him for something else, but I interviewed him for like 3 hours. I spent almost the whole day of Valentine's Day 2020 with John Cleese.
Yeah, I read a couple biographies about him, and I've watched all the documentaries and stuff.
Awesome guy. He
smart, balanced, talented guy.
Yep, had amazing stories. He'll text me every now and then.
Oh yeah,
random stuff, which is hilarious. But it was great. I asked him what the most he ever laughed was, and he told me this amazing story about being at in a public park with Oh my God. His writing partner, the one who's dead.
Terry Gilliam.
No, not Terry Gilliam. The one who died before everybody in the 80s. But anyway, about being with him in Australia, and there was a preacher. It's just a very funny story.
The illustrator guy, right?
No, that's Terry Gilliam.
That's Terry Gilliam. Okay.
Terry Jones died recently too, which he had an amazing story about Terry Jones as well. But yeah, I can't believe I got to spend a day with that guy. It was pretty amazing. At 10 o'clock, there's a thing I have to mention just because it sounds insane, and it's called Outrage. There's an exclamation point, so I'm reading it. Outrage! Crime victims fight back. George Kennedy narrates this 1983 documentary on how victims of crime are bringing about changes in the criminal justice system. The program focuses on California's Victims' Bill of Rights, which lets crime victims testify before the judge about how their lives have been affected. Now, I didn't know that was a thing that didn't exist already.
No, I'm surprised by that. But here's a problem I have with the TV Guide. At the bottom of page 124, this happened a couple times, 10 p.m. for like 2 lines. I think that the TV Weekly would put that 10 p.m. up at the top of the next page.
You got a lot to put in, though. You know, you got to make Falcon Crest cut off so that you can fit the whole description of Firing Line, the conclusion of a 2-part debate on whether affirmative action goals should be abandoned.
Yeah, you can't. That's tight. You can't cut any words from
that. I mean, we can't question the TV Guide layout. You know, we're not professionals. Now let me see if there are cheers and jeers this week. So that.
Oh yeah, I couldn't find those. I don't know.
Some weeks they're not there, so they may not be in this week. Sports View, Newswire. There are no cheers and jeers, so you don't get to agree or disagree this week. I apologize. But what
can't do?
So you watched Cheers in lockdown. Anything else that you watched or comfort shows you went with?
For lockdown?
Yeah.
I really liked Peaky Blinders. My comfort Cheers was my comfort show, but I stopped watching a little bit. It was my comfort. Started watching I feel like I finished a bunch. I started watching the Nurse Ratched.
Oh yeah. Which
is pretty wild.
People love that. I hated Cuckoo's Nest, so I'm like,
oh, you did? Wow.
Well, I recognize that it's very good, but it just made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Yeah, I can see that. But I want to see. Better Call Saul. I'm stuck on the 4 seasons because that's all that was on Netflix. So I'm going to wait till I can see the rest of them, but I'm kind of looking forward to that. That's kind of something I'm saving.
Have you seen The Good Wife?
Good Wife, I haven't.
That's a good courtroom show. Very, very good to binge. I recommend it. Yeah.
Not a big courtroom guy.
Me either, but it sort of transcends.
What did you think? What do you think of the Good Place?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, you haven't?
Which is terrible because in the episode I had Ted Denson on, he had just started filming it and he's going on about how great it is.
That's how I heard about it.
Yeah, and I meant to watch it and then I didn't watch when it started, and it's serialized. Like you can't just jump in.
No, you can't. But it's pretty smart. It's been really funny, like well written.
I've heard
actually the old student of mine, someone from my town, writes on it. She wrote for Parks and Rec too.
Oh wow! Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's fun to. You can kind of see the same sensibilities and stuff. But
it's supposed to be amazing. And when I jumped in, I think I tried watching a season 2 episode. I was totally lost. So I'm like, oh, I need to go back from the beginning. And I still will. It's on my list.
It's worth it. Just finish the first season. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I will.
Don't get bored.
I will do that. For you, I will do that.
Wow.
Yes, just for you. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's been great talking to you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but this was absolutely fabulous. I'm a big fan of the show, and I just loved the idea of doing what we just did, and it was a blast.
It was everything you hoped it would be.
Everything I hoped it would be, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. There you go. That's Jim. Don't bring a crowbar to a fight. I think we all learned a valuable lesson today without being hit with a metal object. And that is my gift to you, the listener. Hopefully you didn't need to learn that lesson the hard way. This is the easy way. And as I always say, my show is the easy way to learn things. So thank you guys again. If you want to email me, you can do so at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or on social media at tvguidance, at Kenneth W. Reed, all the usual rigmarole, as we I'm looking forward to spring, guys. This is going to be a good spring. It's going to be a good summer. It's a little further. It's going to go a little bit further. Anyway, I'll be here next week, and I hope you will too, for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
This isn't video, right?